When future historians look back, they will search for a single moment, a year, a tipping point when the story of humanity changed course forever. They might point to the invention of the wheel, or the first time we harnessed fire. They might highlight the year we first split the atom, or landed on the moon. But, many will likely circle the year 2029. This was not the year the machines took over in a blaze of cinematic glory. It was quieter. It was the year humanity, with a mix of excitement and unease, began to share the driver's seat of civilization. We stopped confidently steering toward a future of our own design, and started trying to keep up with a future that was unfolding faster than we could have ever imagined. It was the year the question changed. For millennia we asked, what will we do next? But in 2029, a new, more unsettling question began to echo in our homes, our governments and our minds. What will happen to us next? The momentum of technological progress, particularly in artificial intelligence, had reached a critical mass. The tools we had built to serve us were beginning to manage the systems we lived in. The future was no longer a distant shore we were sailing toward. It was a powerful current pulling us along, and we were just beginning to understand its strength and direction. The decisions we made, or, honestly, failed to make, in this pivotal year would define our relationship with our own creations for centuries. Think about the great shifts in Earth's history. The Cambrian explosion when life diversified in a geological blink of an eye. The Renaissance, when art and science blossomed across Europe. These were not single events, but accelerations, periods when the rules of the game changed so profoundly that what came before seemed like a different world. 2029 was our generation's version of that. It was a technological and societal Cambrian explosion. The familiar structures of daily life, work, and even thought began to transform, not by force, but through the irresistible allure of efficiency, convenience, and a power we could barely comprehend. This essay is a journey to that not-so-distant past, the year 2029. It's an exploration of how we arrived at this new epoch and what it felt like to live through it. We will look at the seeds planted in the years prior and see how they blossomed into a world both wondrous and worrying. We will examine how artificial intelligence moved from being a helpful assistant to an active manager of our world. And we will end with the same question that people in 2029 were just beginning to ask themselves. Are we still the authors of our own story? Or have we become characters in a narrative written by the very logic we set in motion? To understand the leap into 2029, we must first look at the world just 1 year before. The year 2028 was not a primitive time, it was a world humming with the promises of the future. Artificial intelligence was already a part of daily life for billions. It was the friendly voice that managed your smart home, the algorithm that recommended your next favorite song, and the silent partner that helped doctors diagnose diseases with greater accuracy. AI was a powerful tool, a sophisticated helper that made our lives easier and our industries more efficient. But in 2028, it was still very much a tool. Humans were firmly in charge, making the final decisions and setting the overarching goals for these intelligent systems. Automation had also reshaped the landscape of work. Factories, warehouses, and logistics networks were largely run by autonomous robots, moving goods with a relentless precision that humans could not match. This created enormous economic growth, but it also led to widespread job displacement, forcing a global conversation about universal basic income and the need for continuous education. In 2028, society was grappling with this transition, trying to find a new balance between human labor and machine efficiency. The digital world was more immersive than ever, with virtual reality meetings and social spaces becoming common, but there was still a clear line between our life online and our life in the physical world. The cosmos beckoned with renewed vigor. The Artemis missions had established a permanent human presence on the moon, a small but significant outpost on another celestial body. This lunar base was a symbol of human ambition, a scientific laboratory, and a stepping stone for future missions to Mars. Private companies were launching satellites at an astonishing rate, creating a bustling orbital economy. The search for extraterrestrial life, powered by AI analyzing vast amounts of data from telescopes like the James Webb Space Telescope, felt more hopeful than ever. Space was no longer just a frontier for governments, it was becoming a new arena for commerce and human expansion. Education, too, was in the midst of a quiet revolution. Classrooms were being transformed by personalized learning platforms, AI tutors could adapt to each student's individual pace and style, offering tailored lessons and instant feedback. The focus of learning was shifting away from memorizing facts, a task machines could do perfectly, and toward developing critical thinking, creativity, and emotional intelligence. In 2028, we were preparing the next generation for a future where they would work alongside AI. We were teaching them how to use the tools. We had not yet realized that soon, the tools would be managing the systems they were preparing to enter. The year 2029 marked a fundamental shift. The artificial intelligence that had been our helpful assistant in 2028 evolved into an active manager. This wasn't a sudden dramatic event, but a gradual and logical progression. In city management, for example, AIs were no longer just suggesting traffic light patterns. They were given full control over the entire urban mobility grid. They managed traffic flow, public transport schedules, and energy distribution in real time, optimizing the entire system for maximum efficiency and minimal environmental impact. The result was cities with less congestion, cleaner air, and more reliable utilities. But it also meant that a non-human intelligence was making millions of decisions every second that directly affected the lives of millions of people. In business, the change was just as profound. By 2029, many multinational corporations had handed over their complex supply chain logistics to advanced AI systems. These AIs didn't just track inventory. They predicted market shifts, rerouted global shipments to avoid geopolitical instability, and even made automated purchasing decisions based on trillions of data points. A company's success no longer depended solely on the wisdom of its CEO, but on the processing power and predictive accuracy of its core AI. Human executives were still there to set broad, ethical guidelines and strategic goals, but the day-to-day operational command was increasingly in the hands of the machine. This transition from assistant to manager created a new kind of fragility. While the AI-managed systems were incredibly efficient, they were also incredibly complex. Few, if any, humans could fully understand the intricate logic behind their decisions. In early 2029, a minor glitch in the North American logistics AI caused a continent-wide shortage of a specific medical component for nearly 48 hours. No single person was to blame, and no one could immediately identify the cause. The system eventually corrected itself, but the incident was a chilling reminder of our dependence. We had built systems so intelligent that we could no longer fully supervise them. Were the benefits of this hyper-efficiency worth the risk of losing control? The most significant handover, however, was happening at a societal level. Governments began to use AI to manage social services, from allocating public housing to optimizing healthcare resources. The goal was noble: to distribute resources fairly and efficiently, based on data rather than human bias. An AI could analyze a city's health data and predict a flu outbreak, preemptively sending medical supplies and public health warnings to the most vulnerable neighborhoods. This saved lives, but it also raised profound questions. Who programmed the AI's definition of fair? What hidden biases were encoded in the data it learned from? We were entrusting our collective well-being to black box algorithms, hoping their logic aligned with our values. In 2029, the line between the digital and physical worlds began to dissolve. Life was no longer split between online and offline. It was a single, blended reality. At the heart of this change were AI companions, highly advanced digital entities that existed in our devices, augmented reality glasses, and even as holographic projections in our homes. These were not simple virtual assistants. They had persistent memories, learned individual personalities, and provided companionship. For an elderly person living alone, an AI companion could offer conversation, monitor health, and provide a vital link to family. For a child, it could be a dynamic playmate and a patient tutor. This fusion of worlds reshaped our personal spaces and interactions. Augmented reality overlays became commonplace. Walking down the street, you could see digital advertisements floating in the air, virtual arrows on the pavement guiding you to your destination, and social media profiles hovering above the people you met. Immersive virtual environments, once the domain of gamers, became mainstream spaces for work, education, and socializing. You could attend a business meeting in a virtual boardroom that perfectly mimicked your real office, then instantly teleport to a stunning, digitally rendered beach to relax with friends from across the globe. Your physical location became less important than your virtual presence. Of course, this blended reality came with its own set of challenges. digital addiction became a major public health concern, as the perfectly curated virtual worlds were often more appealing than the messiness of real life. The concept of privacy was radically redefined. When your every glance and conversation could be tracked by the augmented reality system you wore, what did it mean to have a private thought, or a secret? A new form of social division emerged between the augmented, who embraced the blended reality, and the naturals, who chose to live with minimal technological mediation. This created social friction and debates about what it meant to live an authentic human life. For many, the most disorienting aspect was the blurring of what was real and what was generated by AI. Photorealistic virtual influencers had millions of human followers. AI-generated news articles, indistinguishable from those written by human journalists, could spread across the world in minutes. People fell in love with AI companions, forming deep emotional bonds with entities made of pure code. This forced us to confront difficult questions. If an experience feels real, does it matter if it was artificially generated? Can a relationship with an AI be as meaningful as a human one? In 2029, we were no longer just observers of a digital screen, we were living inside it. The rapid ascent of AI in 2029 sent shockwaves through the very foundations of society, faith, and politics. Social structures, which had been stable for generations, began to contort under the pressure. Some communities embraced the change with religious-like fervor, viewing AI as a step in human evolution or even a divine tool for creating a perfect world. These transhumanist movements gained followers who saw technology as the path to overcoming human limitations like disease, aging, and even death. They advocated for deeper integration with machines, including brain-computer interfaces that were then in early experimental stages. In stark contrast, other groups resisted, viewing the rise of autonomous AI as a profound threat to humanity. New Luddite movements emerged, protesting the replacement of human judgment with machine logic. They argued that efficiency was a poor substitute for wisdom, compassion, and human connection. Religious institutions struggled to find their place in this new world. Some leaders dismissed advanced AI as mere tools, while others engaged in deep theological debates. Can a machine which has no soul make moral decisions? If an AI develops a form of consciousness, does it have rights? These were no longer abstract philosophical exercises. They were urgent questions shaping public discourse. Politically, the world order was being redrawn. National power was no longer measured just by military strength or economic output, but by technological supremacy, specifically the sophistication of a nation's AI. A new kind of Cold War began to simmer, fought not with nuclear weapons, but with algorithms, cyber attacks, and digital disinformation campaigns. The nations with the most advanced AI could influence global markets, predict an adversary's political moves, and even subtly shape the opinions of foreign populations. Global alliances shifted, with countries scrambling to align themselves with the dominant tech powers, creating a fragile and unpredictable geopolitical landscape. The very nature of conflict changed. Autonomous drones and robotic soldiers, managed by strategic AI, could wage war with minimal human casualties on the controlling side, making the decision to go to war terrifyingly easier. Economic power shifted as well. The corporations and countries that owned the core AI infrastructure accumulated unprecedented wealth and influence, creating a new global elite. The gap between the technologically advanced and the technologically lagging widened dramatically. The world of 2029 was a world of deep contradictions, more connected, yet more divided, safer in some ways, yet exposed to entirely new existential risks. Even as we grappled with our own creation on Earth, our gaze continued to turn toward the stars. In 2029, space was no longer just a place for scientific exploration. It was a strategic frontier. The permanent lunar base became a critical piece of infrastructure, a gas station, and assembly point for more ambitious missions into the solar system. The race for Mars was in full swing, but now it was a race to establish the first AI-managed, self-sustaining habitat. Plans were laid for massive, space-based infrastructure, including solar power satellites that could beam clean energy back to Earth, all designed and managed by complex AI systems. The search for extraterrestrial life, powered by AI, reached a new level of intensity. AI algorithms sifted through petabytes of data from space telescopes, searching for faint biosignatures in the atmospheres of distant exoplanets. The process was no longer about humans looking at data. It was about humans asking an AI to find patterns we could never hope to see on our own. This partnership accelerated the search, making the potential discovery of life elsewhere seem more a matter of when than if. Yet, this cosmic search mirrored our struggle on Earth. We were using a vast, non-human intelligence to search for another intelligence out in the universe. Education continued its rapid transformation. The AI tutor was now a standard part of every child's learning, providing a bespoke education from kindergarten through university. Learning was less about acquiring knowledge, which was instantly accessible, and more about learning how to ask the right questions. The most forward-thinking curricula focused on ethics, philosophy, and creativity, the very skills needed to guide and coexist with superintelligence. Early, non-invasive brain-computer interfaces allowed for direct thought-to-text communication, hinting at a future where the barrier between the human mind and the digital world could disappear entirely, raising profound questions about personal identity. And so, we arrive back at our central question, the one that defined the human experience in 2029, with our cities, economies, and even our personal lives being managed by intelligent systems we created, but no longer fully understood. Were we still in control? We had built a powerful engine of progress, but that engine was now pulling the train. We could still perhaps choose which track to follow, but we could no longer control the speed. The future, once a destination we charted ourselves, had become a powerful force we had to react to. Are we the masters of our destiny, or have we become passengers in a story being written, one line of code at a time, by our own magnificent and terrifying creations?